Hey, I'm Jamey from Stonemaier Games, and today I'm going to talk about what's different in the Stonemaier version of Tokaido Duo. If you don't know how Tokaido Duo works, just a very quick overview is that it is somewhat similar to the game Tokaido. But instead of having one path and one character on that path, you have three different paths that work a little bit differently and three different characters on those paths. And what you're going to be doing is on your turn, you will roll the three dice in the game. You will draft one of them and apply the results to that character, the character matching this die. The other player will choose one of the other dice and apply the results to that character matching the die color. And it's also dual coded for colorblind friendliness, the icons on the die. And then me, the active player, I get to use the third die. Since it's my turn, I'm getting two actions. It's not your turn, so you only get one action. But it is nice that you are, even in a duo game, you are involved even when it's my turn and vice versa. That's broadly what Tokaido Duo is. And really, we changed very little about this game. I would say we made slightly more changes to Tokaido. But again, with Tokaido Duo, we didn't change the gameplay. We didn't change the beautiful art. There are two things that we changed. One is an addition. And the addition is that we added an Automa solo mode, thanks to the wonderful folks at Automa Factory. Morton worked primarily on this one. David and Linus worked on this one as well. Lines, I think is how you say their name. It just adds 9 cards for the solo mode that are now included in the box. So there is now a solo mode included into Tokaido Duo. It is now a 1 to 2 player game instead of just a 2-player game. Also, though, we have, for those of you, if you already own Tokaido Duo, then we offer the solo mode as its own individual pack. So we have Tokaido Duo, which includes the solo mode. Let's see if we put 1 to 2 players on here correctly. We did 1 to 2 players right there. But also, if you already have this, maybe you have the Fun Forge version of this, you could just buy this and just add the solo mode to it. So that's one of the changes, probably the biggest change, the most substantial change. The other changes for these games, as this is Tokaido Duo, and eventually Namiji, I try to look at them from the perspective of how can we make this friendlier and more accessible. In Tokaido, for example, the character tiles had often long strings of icons that you had to decipher and then refer to the rulebook to really fully understand them. To make that more accessible, I included the text on the back of those character tiles so that you can just flip the character over and see what those icons meant if you wanted to see, if you couldn't understand it from the icons. There isn't really an equivalent to that in Tokaido Duo, but there was one thing that I found that was a little clunky. And that was that, I don't know, it's hard to describe because it wasn't really a problem, but basically all the information that you need to know about how to work the characters was included in the rulebook. But both players needed to really understand how those characters worked. And the rulebook was actually quite long for a very simple game. So what I did is I made the rulebook itself more succinct. So these rules tell you how to play the game. They tell you the setup, the overview, the structure of the game. And you can see the front page is just kind of a cover page. There's setup over, setup goes all the way over until midway through page 3. Because there's a components list, there's a game overview. Really, all of setup is shown here on page 3, half of page 3, very quick setup. And then it shows you the flow of the game. And then on the back of here, we jump to the end of the game and victory points. Along with some visual examples. I moved all the character-specific content. Like I said, on your turn, you are going to be using one of the 3 characters, and this is a race for one of those characters to complete their goal, and then you count up the victory points. I moved all that content to reference cards. And these are pretty big reference cards. I mean, they're almost the size of the rulebook. They're pretty big cards. But as a 2-player game, you have more space on the table. And each player gets their own set of them. So the green player gets 1, the purple player gets 1. You have your own set of these reference cards. So we kind of, in my mind, this makes it more accessible. Whenever I'm ready to activate the artist, when I'm learning how to use it, I have my own artist guide here that I can look at and that I can figure out how the artist works in real time. Or if I haven't played in a while and I've forgotten how the artist works, it's right there in front of me. And by me referencing it, it isn't taking it away from you because you have your own artist guide. And I made these cards instead of a book because I thought that would be a little easier to flip through. They're just right in front of you, just like this. So it's a little tweak. I am honestly curious to hear what people think about it, but I think it makes the game more accessible, a little bit more friendly for that two-player format where both players are trying to compete, trying to learn the game, trying to remember the game at the same time. Those are the only two changes to Tokaido Duo. Maybe there are other tiny little things that I'm forgetting about. Feel free to ask me in the comments, but I think that's pretty much it. But of course, yeah, ask me anything you want in the comments. I'm happy to talk about the product design for Tokaido Duo that we went through in making our version of it. Thanks.